Hey, hello everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Mhm. Laura, do you know if are you able to share your screen or do I need to do something on my end?
Hello, good morning, everyone.
Hi, Tanya.
Are you able to see it?
Oh, yes, we are.
Okay,
Oh
great.
my, that's my face.
Get it.
There we go. Hello.
There we go.
Oh, I'm
Everyone can see this?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
yes.
Helen, do you want me to get started or are you gonna introduce us? How do you want to
Yeah,
do it?
I can get started. I won't take too long, but I just wanted to say welcome everyone. This is our first WBDC business training. We're so fortunate to be able to partner with the WBDC and their lovely people that they know who help put on these trainings for us. So yeah, if more of you want to introduce yourself and yeah.
Yes, we got to be at the ribbon cutting on Friday, so that was so exciting to see the new shop owners. Welcome today. My name's Maura Mitchell. I'm Managing Director of Entrepreneurial Services at the Women's Business Development Center, and we help people who are starting up and who are scaling. So welcome today. I'm not going to take too much time. I'm just going to let you know the Women's Business Development Center is always here for you. We have Felicitas and Yesenia here today. We are all advisors and we offer free, no cost, one-on-one advising. So if ever you get in a pinch with your financial statements, with your business plan, with a resource that you need, please reach out to us. We will each put our emails in the chat. So please reach out to us. But I'm going to get started here. Our first Berwyn shop training is on marketing. And today we are lucky to have Shaili Hakimian. She is the founder of Social Media Sherpa. She started doing social media for her hobby community in high school on MySpace. So she didn't realize what she was doing and that she was doing social media until after college when she saw a question on a job application asking if she had ever managed an online community. And she realized there was something there. She graduated from Indiana University with a degree and certification in elementary ed. And she now uses those teaching skills to lead workshops, work with business owners, one-on-one training them on social media. And she has coached over 170 B2B consultants on how to use LinkedIn to grow their business. So maybe you can switch over to LinkedIn if you're not there yet. She guides businesses on how to stay top of mind with their community and referral network using social media. Shaili holds her clients accountable and boosts their confidence in themselves, what they have to offer in their own social media abilities. She loves live streaming, event social media, live tweeting, and comment engagement. So I'm going to stop sharing and welcome Shaili to our workshop today. Thank you.
Maura, thank you so much for having me. Hello, Berwyn shop owners. You are in for a treat today. Now, social media, you might be thinking, is a huge topic. Somebody could have come in and said, get on TikTok, get on Instagram, get on LinkedIn, get on some obscure platform you've never heard of before. And they all know their thing. But my job is to help you get the foundation of your marketing together so that you can maintain your relationships just like you would in your everyday life. When it comes to your community, your support system, your friends, your family, you want to make sure that people remember the wonderful thing that you do. Now, from what I understand, you all are probably selling products. Is that right? Tell me in the chat. We're going to use this chat more than you realize today. This is not a sit and just blah session. We are going to shake it up. So tell me a little bit. I think some of y'all are selling stuff. Put it in the chat. I might not be able to see your faces, but I can see you typing when you do. So my goal is to help get the foundation so you can do it right. Everything that I'm going to teach you today can be applied today or in 50 years, whatever the social media platforms could be. Now, I see jewelry and accessories, great. My family's in the jewelry business. I've been there, done that. Sugar-free Mexican sweets and pastries, great for my pre-diabetes. Just went to Mexico, loved it. Workout clothes, amazing. Lots of products and services, great. I usually do a lot with services, but all of this will apply because each and every one of you knows your thing so well, and your ideal customer is probably going to love the personalized service that you give. For example, I have this like wonderful heat pack that some salesperson sold me at a mall like 20 years ago. It was kind of expensive, but I'll never forget that he used our first generation immigrant energy to try to like make me buy the thing. And I'll never forget that fun adventure I had to buy the product, and the product is still in my house 20 years later. So the story you attach to whatever it is that you do, whether it's coffee and crafts to, let's see, hair bows and accessories, there's something that you know that your client doesn't know, and you can add that personal connection with what you put out on the internet. So with that, plant-based wellness supplements and beauty products. Oh yes, I'm learning about makeup these days. I did not put that much, I didn't put any on, but I'm learning. So with that, I'm going to ask a question. Again, we're going to use this chat a bunch. How do you feel about marketing? 10 is like, social media is easy peasy. I'm just going to hang out, listen to this. 1 is like, I hate it. I'm pulling my hair out. This is the worst thing ever. If I could skip it, I would. Where do you fall on the scale? 1 to 10? Maybe you have a 0.5%. Jennifer is an expert. Great. So keep chiming in on your tips. We have a 5 from Tanya. We have Valeska loves Instagram but hates TikTok. I actually quit TikTok 2 years ago. I was addicted, and I've been on there since 2016, which people didn't know it was on 2016. Early days. Okay, we got Erica's got a 10. Great. So like I said, there's 6, we have 4. We have a whole range of people here. Some of you will still have a new way to reshape how you think about marketing, but this is really a foundation for everything to keep your people in the loop on what you do and the expertise that you have. So little backstory. I know y'all are selling shops. When I was a kid, I would try to sell things. I made up garage sales out of nowhere. I even raised, I don't know, $2,200 for a charity when I was 17 selling baked goods. I did not know how to bake. So my friend with the Mexican bakery, I wish I had you back then, but I ended up raising a lot of money on my school day just to help this charity that I really cared about. So I've sold some things before, and I knew you got to make everything look cool and pretty and fabulous. I think that's even pre-Instagram era. So I'm with you, and I'm going to try to connect all of those dots together. So it might not be the one session you needed today, but it's the one thing to help you get clarity to cut out the noise with social media, because half the battle is accountability and organizing how you're going to actually maintain it on a consistent basis. So we know a little bit more about how you all do social media. This is going to be interesting. I think I mentioned to Maura briefly that I have some videos that I always tell people, watch this and it'll connect the dots for you on social media to how you build relationships. So we're going to watch those in a very interactive way, and they're going to have prompts at the end of the videos. And I'm going to watch you, and I'm also going to chime in to make sure that you are participating and you are saying things. Even if you're an expert, you're going to pick up some new nuggets. We feeling it in the chat, or I mean, some people can shout out questions and comments. So yes, if you have insights for your fellow business owners, I can't pretend I know everything about your life, but you all can relate to each other in many ways. So chime in with your thoughts, comments, questions, musings. Here's what I say. The only bad question is the one that you don't ask that lives in your brain. I found running calls after calls after calls with businesses that the questions that get asked when I'm like, I don't know if I should ask this, are ones that everybody else has too. So ask away, including our leaders here today, because you know this demographic better than I do. So chime in as well. This is a collective experience for us to all learn together. So with that, okay, Nancy, I love the smiley faces. Jennifer, great too. Oh, and it's agnostic to platform. So I'll even just preface this. You want to find a platform that is right for you and your skill set and where your people are. It's a combination. But if you hate writing as much as I do, long form blogging is probably not your thing. But if you're a personality, give me that video all day, right? We'll figure it out together. So giving you a little taste of what you're going to see. Everything is available online. We're going to go to YouTube. I know, so much fun. Who knew today? And you're going to watch a series of crazy fun videos that will help you get really, really clear on your marketing. As I sneeze, hang on. I'm allergic to good people here. Oh my goodness. So here's some of these videos. We're gonna watch some of these right here, and it's gonna blow your mind. Wait a second. Actually, let me go back to audio. Oops. I don't think we can hear it yet. Hang on. Gotta love me some Zoom. Share sound. Optimize clip. And I will be here by your side here. Doo-doo-doo.
I don't need social media. I get my business by word of mouth. It was a phrase very much like this one that I got while visiting a business networking group where I said, hey, I do social media. And they're like, I don't need social media. I get my business from word of mouth. I don't need it. It's different. And I was like, I was a lowly, like, very young freelancer at the time. And I was like, okay, I guess they just don't need social media. But I was like, this business scene needs my help. And I was like, something else is going on here. And eventually I realized that social media and the referral network are literally, they can be the exact same thing, but most people don't realize that connection. So here's an exhibit A. I have a client who's a fabulous Indian matchmaker. She is changing how Indian matchmaking is done. She's bringing modern innovation into it. She's absolutely fabulous. And she's probably a millennial like me. And she came to me and she's like, I need some guidance on how to do my social media. Where she was at is she had a fabulous Instagram presence and she had some really good freelancers making things look really, really pretty. But what I know that she didn't know is that she was spending her energies on things that weren't the most obvious for her to get an ROI first, which was neglecting her referral network. Is that she, like me, is a super connector, has so many people that love and trust her and are fans of her, and she wasn't speaking to them first. So I want to give you a little bit of an example of where she was coming from. So she had 300 people on an email list that she had on her website, which having a capture form, not a bad thing. And she also had tons of people in her LinkedIn network that were her ideal customer that she was trying to target to sign up for her matchmaking services. And yet they didn't really know what the heck she was up to. They didn't know about her business. They didn't know how she was the modern innovator. They didn't know any of this stuff. So what did I do with her? First off, we fluffed up her LinkedIn profile. I made it really, really clear to show the problem that she solves for her ideal demographic. I think she was trying to get a lot more men to sign up for these because there's lots of women that want to date. It is what it is. Right? And then also having her put out educational content through her email list. Now, granted, Instagram is cool, and I still think it's a cool thing for her, but she needed to feed her people that were most excited about her first. So with her email list, I told her to give people the tips, the tricks, the misinformation they have about matchmaking, every little nugget like that to educate her ideal audience to realize why she is the perfect match to serve them in their love journey. So with that, I want you to do what she did. I want you to have this opportunity to match your pre-existing relationships who are already really, really warm with the kind of information that you want to feed them. Now, if you're looking at me and you're like, Shiley, this is going to be stressful, this is going to be hard, this is going to be... The step I'm going to give you is going to be so stupid easy. I'm a big fan of making things stupid and easy and light so you don't have to stress out over this stuff, just like her. Here's what I'm going to tell you to do. Like I told you with her, she needs to get all that information out of her brain and down on paper, and that's what I'm going to tell you to do. So I love a good Google Doc. So let's say you go on a Google Doc. If you're more advanced, skip this step, by the way. Write down every frequently asked question that you have in your business. Tell me the tips. Tell me the tricks. Tell me the mistakes people are constantly facing in your industry. What are the misconceptions that people have? There's so much information that I'm sure you do on every single sales call, but you need to make that available to your people. So at minimum, before we even touch the social media, get it on paper. And the simplest ways, you can send that Google Doc to someone who's a prospect before they ever call you. So even if you don't have a website, you could totally do this tomorrow. Now, if you are a little more deeper in social media, use all of that content to feed every single piece of platform you're on, whether it's a video like this one, a tweet, an Instagram post, maybe a LinkedIn post. Gotta love some LinkedIn. All of that information is going to fill the gaps that you would have had to do one by one on every single call. So use that inspiration, maybe add it to your website or put it somewhere, but one step at a time, and you'll be golden. So on our next video is going to be a little bit more about where your referral network is and where it comes from and what you're going to do to make sure they stay happy. And then you can succeed like my matchmaker client who said she could tell the amazing results, especially 6 to 9 months after, when she was getting the right people to see her. You know who those right people are. If you can trust that they're your right people and match the right information to them, you have a golden opportunity on the internet. See you on the next one. Bye.
So Okay, we have the first video here. How many of you have a system to engage with people that you've interacted with before? For example, when somebody walks into your store and they look around, you can hand them a business card, but some of you probably have a little social media sign that says follow us. Some of you might even say follow us for a 10% discount, optional, but for some of your businesses that might work, right? Tell me in the chat, are you engaging the people that have walked through your doors before? Getting them to like your Instagram, get on your mailing list. That's how you keep the relationship for as long as they want and you run your business. Great. Let's see what we wrote. Grisella, am I saying that right? You do that? Because I find that over and over again, people do not do that, right? And I always like to say this, one of these platforms can kick you off tomorrow. So having their email is a very handy situation. And there's lots of easy ways to incentivize it. In service-based businesses, sometimes we give people a little freebie of some sort. It might be like, hey, I'll give you an extra sample if you like my page. They are signing up for your marketing, whether they realize it or not. And most of the time, they don't. Jennifer's is absolutely. I'm always saying, join my email. I think of it like the corpse. Or corpse? Yes. Valeska says, both business cards and QR codes for follows. Oh, corporations. Yes. You can't hand out business cards. Sometimes they just stay in our pocket. Actually, fun fact, here we go. I did not plan on bringing this out today. This is my bag of business cards from 10 years of schmoozing in Chicago. Sometimes they just live in this pile like a weird hoarder that I am. So I verbally talk to people and then use Blink for business cards. You can use Blink, but you have to know who those people are and how you're going to follow up with them, because once they're in my card, if I don't remember their name or what they do, it's the abyss of my phone. The other trick I'll say now, because I happen to remember it, if you have someone follow you on Instagram and you don't remember the context, say, hey, thanks for following. First off, that's engaging. Second thing is, I love talking to you about XYZ. So next time you see them pop up on your feed, you feel like you have context with them. So you're less of a stranger. Lee says, I used to have an email list sign up form, flyer cards, business cards with QR codes. That can work. That can work, but you got to make sure it's easy for them to take action. Okay, we're going to keep diving in. But who has an FAQ page? Either on their social profile or on their website. Easiest thing is pie. Don't make anybody guess who has one and who's going to make one after today. I love your recommendation of writing down a list of questions to avoid having to go back and forth. It's been on your to-do list. Okay, this is like easiest to do number one. If you do one thing as a result of the session, write down all your FAQs. Eventually you can add them to a website. You can make them into like a pretty thing on Instagram, LinkedIn, wherever. Jennifer, you're welcome. And Jennifer, you said you rock at this stuff, so I'm glad that this is a new idea for you. It's the stupidest, easiest thing you can do. Okay, I'm going to show another video. Where's number 2? And then we're going to keep going.
Can you truly?
Oops. Ha ha ha. I'm going to screen share with the lovely Zoom.
Can you truly promise someone results using social media? The way that this industry works is that it's a lot of it, put pretty things out and hope something works out. And a lot of times people don't understand that social media managers, their whole job is to put stuff information out there in places that you've told them would be necessary. They're not necessarily business strategists, yet you in your head are wondering where the sales are coming from. And the reality is, if you're not making your social media freelancer put content in front of the right people, you're not going to get what you need. So how do you make sure the efforts that you're putting in on social media are actually going to bring you an ROI and get you another client? Let me tell you about a client I have who is a performer in his late 60s who is doing amazing things on the internet. I thought he had a social media manager when I met him, and he's like, nope, I've been doing all of this on Canva. And I was like, wow. So in his world, his clients hire him once a year to do a performance for them at a trade show. And for them, they hire him once a year, and chances are they don't see him or talk to him till the next show comes up and they call him back because they want him to be at their show again. And he also knows that the clients that see him perform are the ones that are most ready to hire him because he's doing something really unique and different. So how does he make sure that, someone who bumped into him at a trade show a year ago or 2 years ago who might need him now sees him as the amazing entertainer, performer, attention getter that he is? Well, he feeds them with content. Now, where's the guarantee here? The guarantee comes from the fact that his list on LinkedIn is filled with his ideal prospects and people that are in a prime position to hire him, right? So regardless of when their show is or when they could hire him, every time he posts, they cannot forget him. He is now unforgettable to his network because he is showing up with education, resources, answers that they didn't know they needed about why he can make their trade show experiences so much better. So by doing this, by showing up and doing all this stuff and educating them, it lets them remember him for themselves and their industry, for their peers when they need help that he's uniquely suitable for. It lets his leads get to know him and build trust with him beyond that one moment they had at a networking event. It makes him unforgettable. He's a resource and gem and teaches them what they did not know they needed to know about trade show entertainment. So, how do you want to be like this client of mine? Here's what I'm going to have you do. Ask yourself these questions, okay? How are you currently staying in touch with your clients, and why are you neglecting it? And why is it so little, right? I always ask this on sales calls. How are you staying in touch with the top, 10 people or 20 people that send you clients? And a lot of times they don't. And I'm like, oh, that's your bucket. The second thing is, what is the connection point you have with them? So for this client, right, he has a lot of them already on LinkedIn. For the client in the last video, she had a lot on LinkedIn and she has some on Instagram too. For you, it might be a text message, or like my dad, who's a social media influencer in his own right, he does it all on WhatsApp. So not platform dependent. I had another client that was on a platform called Mastodon, which I never heard of before. So wherever your people are, that's going to be key. And sometimes you have to bring them places. Email isn't a bad option. And lastly, where are you currently getting your customers from? This will help in the next video, because that knowledge, you want to double down on it. You want to put money into what works, right? This is what business and referral networks are all about. So with that, the more you know about how you stay in touch with your people, the easier it will be to speak to them in a way that makes you unforgettable. We'll see you in the next video.
So, okay, here's the next question on this one. So, good, I'm seeing some things in the comments. One of the greatest examples I use is that I used to go to a lot of networking events. It's kind of how I met Maura, like, I don't know, 7 years ago, forever ago. It's been ages. And I might meet somebody wonderful, and I might only meet them once and say, oh, it's nice to meet you at this networking event. Okay. And then I leave. And then the chance of me meeting them again and them remembering me is like 0, because they might never go to an event or even come back to the Berwyn shops ever again, right? And I'll give you an example. We said we have someone who does plants. We have, like, let's say plants, right? I don't know a lot about plants. I've just accidentally killed a plant a few months ago, so I'm not an expert. But now that that plant's dead, I might think, oh, I need to go call somebody for plants. And if I'm not seeing someone's plants knowledge showing up on my feeds on a regular basis, I'm going to forget that amazing shop that I went to all those years ago. I can't even remember the name of it. But if you got me to follow, then I could see them over and over again. The same with, like, my marshmallow shop that I love. I haven't bought a lot from them since they launched, but I now see their content every day and I'm salivating over these marshmallows. And for my birthday this weekend, I might go get me some marshmallows with hot chocolate, because they are in my head. I don't have to walk into their store to remember them. They might not need your soap products. They might not need your fitness clothes, but then one day they're like, I'm starting a fitness routine. Who was that store that I liked? They're not following you. They're not going to remember you. We following? Yes, Sherry, I appreciate it. Love it. Very, very important. And I have a feeling you all have people that already love and adore you. Are they seeing you on a regular basis? Patrice says yes. Tell me more. I love it. The next one is coming. I know this is a unique format, but I love getting to interact with you in between. This is a great, interesting event.
Social media is not always the option. And this is coming from the social media Sherpa. So in the last video, I told you about how important it is to know where your people are and how you're speaking to them and making sure that you're putting the right information in front of them. Well, this next story is a little different because I actually told the client not to worry as much on social media. Because my job is to make sure that you are working on feeding your golden nuggets of opportunity when it comes to your marketing. And sometimes social media isn't the thing. So let me tell you about a client of mine. She's probably, I don't know, 50s, 60s. I have no idea how old she is, but she probably wasn't in the social media generation like I was. And she has run a therapy practice for a very, very long time. And she generally gets business from SEO, which is like her website, right? People are like, I need a therapist in the city. Great. They find her website and they, call in and say, I want to make an appointment. And so in her mind, she's like, well, I need to get with the times. I need to get social media. Let me call the Sherpa. So I explained to her how social media worked, but I also told her that she was missing a major opportunity in her business, which was the person who maybe was looking into therapy, but wasn't necessarily ready to commit. And this can apply to any of your businesses, by the way. They were coming to her website, and if they weren't ready to become a practice client, theoretically they would just go away because there wasn't really a way for them to keep nurturing them to be educated about why her therapy practice was so special. So the first thing I did for her was make sure that she had an email capture form on her website that could capture these people who weren't yet ready to sign on and give them a little bit of education into their own mental health experiences and what worked and what didn't for them, and where they could use a little bit of extra help. That way, that over the coming months, that they could stay in touch with them beyond, rather than hoping and praying that social media clients are going to fall from the sky. So it's not always, social media is not always the answer, right? So that was her golden opportunity that she was for sure missing out on. I told her, you have to get this together first before we can play around with other marketing tools. And she's a go-getter, by the way. She figured everything out. I would tell her something and she would run and she would fix it. It was brilliant. So let's not wait for the abyss of the internet to bring us our people. Feed the people that you have first. And she had a huge email list that she wasn't sending anything to. So we managed to get her social media agency to send insights for like how to deal with a child who might have anorexia or bulimia, to like, what do you do if you've got depression? What do you do with ADHD, and how do you get, what is a neurofeedback machine, and all this stuff. You want to educate those people because they don't know anything. You're going to end up being the source of knowledge to them for whatever is the thing that you do. So she now has an email list that keeps all of these people informed about how her therapy practice can make their lives better. #GoTherapy, y'all. If anybody doesn't have one, get on it. It's a fantastic resource. Thank you, millennials who are not scared to talk about mental health. Woohoo! So here's what I'm going to have you do. Here's your action step. Who are your people that have gotten you your latest and best clients? Who are the people that send you exactly who you want to meet? Because those people need to think about you on a regular basis, or else you're not going to get those referrals. Second thing is, in the last video, I asked you, what medium do you connect with them through? That was a big question, right? I said my dad is on WhatsApp, some people are on Twitter, some people are on LinkedIn, whatever. There's a lot of places, right? Is it an easy medium for you to send something on consistently? I'm a talker, so if it was a written blog that was just writing, would be my nightmare. So for me, I love that I could do videos and talk on LinkedIn or maybe YouTube or whatever, or do podcasts, right? That's a medium that favors me. So is the platform where your people are one that favors the way you like to put out information and something that you can do consistently? It's very important. If it isn't, can you bring them to a place online, which, like I've been saying throughout, an email list is a great way to start to collect people, right? People do open their emails, so you're not fighting an algorithm like you would on a bunch of different platforms. So make it easy for them to all be somewhere that you can send out good information that is valuable to them, like we talked about in the previous videos, and make it easy for them to get on that list. So for me, one of my tricks is I love to ask people for permission. Can I add you to my email list? Hey, can I send you tips? Hey, I appreciate our relationship. Would this be helpful to you? Because then they're going to think you really, really care about them, which you do. Because if you're anything like me and all the other connectors I know, that is very, very consistent in all of that. So stay tuned for the next video where you'll get more insights on how to continue to show up as the expert.
Ooh, juicy one there. Anyone pro therapy as well? I always just want to emphasize, because somebody in here needs to just do it. Yes, I got a lot of hands raised. Yes. Okay, good. Go to therapy. Okay. Great. Highly recommend. But yeah, you're also going to be a fake therapist for all the people that need your product. So all true. But yeah, keep those relationships going. I know some of this stuff is a little more geared towards a different style of business, but it's ultimately match the right eyeballs with the right people on a consistent basis. So I'm going to ask you, you already feel like one sometimes, like a fake therapist? Love it, Katrina. I wonder what platforms do you think you're on? What platforms are you on now? Are there platforms you want to explore? Like, what are your mediums? Do you know what favors you and your skills, whatever your team is? I'd love to know. Because I live for LinkedIn. Maura also posts a lot of great stuff on LinkedIn. She's been sharing her soul so good. And I'm like, oh. So that's how we stay in touch, right? I haven't seen her in person in a while. So I love it. What are some platforms? Actually, if you want to shout them out too, I love that. Katrina, what are you on? And Yasmin? Instagram, Facebook. And do we like those? That might be, for some of these businesses, that might be the right spot. Oh, Pinterest. Somebody told me SEO and Pinterest are like a love match. So I'm like, cool. But without a place to take those people from SEO, you got to feed them somewhere. Like, you got to pull them off. Google's valuable. Yes. I like it. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and Pinterest. But one of the things I'm hearing too is if you do a lot of them, it also can get very exhausting. Because yes, you can keep pinging people out, but every platform has its own vibe, its own culture, and some of them are easier to get new people, some of them are not as easy to get new people. That's why I say feed the people who are similar to your ideal clients, because they're going to be like, oh, wait, I know somebody who's an expert at really good sugar-free Mexican desserts or wardrobes or whatever. Google is a thing. That FAQ page thing I told you about is absolutely and also a Google strategy. The better your website answers all of the problems for your ideal customer, the easier it is for them to click and say yes. But you also want to give them a middle ground because they might not be ready to say yes today. That's why you always see those pop-ups on every website. Hey, sign up and get 20% off, or sign up and get my free social media tips to change your life. I'm making that last up, but if only. So all of the knowledge that we're talking about, again, put it on your website. At a minimum, that'll also help Google too. Somebody's going to stalk you and be like, is this thing legit? It is. So put all the good info there. Okay, just a little bit more videos of goodness. And we're on 3, we're on 4. Gotta love my videos.
Some of you,
I keep clicking the wrong buttons on social media because I'm a genius, y'all. Here we go. Oh, where's my Zoom? I gotta love Zoom. I live on Zoom, but I'm like, oh, wait, let me.
Some of you may be watching these videos and thinking, well, if I give away all of my tips and secrets, then why would they even need to hire me? They can just do everything on their own. Maybe you'll learn from these videos and do things on your own. You can totally do that. But the idea of content like this and content like what I'm going to do with my next client that I'm going to tell you about is that they let you be the trusted source of information. Because yeah, sometimes people will do it on their own and it doesn't even matter. But when they decide that they need that help, who do you think they're going to call to say, hey, I need you? Who do you think they're going to think is the expert in their field? The person that taught them exactly how to judge people in their field. Kind of like if you go on my website, there's a document that explains industry pricing and how you should be judging different social media service providers and who they're each best for, right? You want to be the person that empowers them to get your industry and to feel empowered about the decisions they make. So my next client, it was a duo, right? It was the person who was in the family business of 17 selling insurance and her assistant, who is also a fabulous writer and who can do some social media execution. And that's exactly what she said. She was really, really nervous that people were going to go to their competitors if all the answers were on their website. And I told her exactly what I said to you earlier. You are the trusted source of intel. The more you can explain what they didn't know they needed, the more they're going to look to you to be the person that will have their back. Especially with a family business, every person, every customer, every client matters to them, right? It's not like these big corporations that have infinite resources to go out and do things, right? So here's what I told them to do, right? They also needed an email capture form on their website, but they also needed to educate people on the problems that come up constantly for them, whether it's how to, insure your RV to what issues come up if you don't insure your business tech startup, right? So I told this client, make sure that information is very easily accessible to your list. And they had an email list already, but they were posting like really, really long things and links and other people's content. It wasn't really doing anything for them. So I told her, send out intel, educate these prospects or current clients or whatever on why they need you and what things they didn't understand about the insurance industry. And she told me this. She said that it was really, really strange that her company got so many more reactions to the first email she sent after she did that than what they usually do. It's such a simple thing that lets people see you as brilliant, as wonderful, as fabulous, as really the expert. And the thing is, nothing about this is new. This is exactly what people had to do in sales for years and years and years. They just had to get you on the phone, had to have you sit on there for hours and hours to hear this explained. Now all that time can be cut down because all of that information is readily available on your website. If you want to see a good example of this, or a good enough example of this, because I'm not perfect, go to my website, yoursocialmediasherpa.com, and you will see my FAQ page, you will see videos, you'll see trainings, you'll see a lot of answers, actually blogs too, and videos telling you exactly what you didn't need to know about social media, because some of you are not going to hire me, and that's okay. I want you to learn. I want you to still be successful. Some of you want my hand holding through it all, right? And for you to understand if I'm really going to help you, you need to understand that I'm good for you, right? And instead of me doing it on the phone with you and spending all that time, I want you to do that on your own. So when you are ready, you can give me a call and say, Shiley, hold my hand through this social media thing so that I can get more out of my network, right? So that you can be unforgettable, right? So provide that context to your community so they really get who you are and what you can do for them. Especially, I'll say this, they were in the insurance industry. There's so many competitors, right? So many people who are doing the exact same thing. You need to stand out and you need to be specialized in something very, very specific. And you know what, even like me, I'm not the most educated on insurance, so working with them has taught me so much. I love the variety of clients I get to work with. So here's what you can do right now to get this going. So, here's what I want you to do. Again, you're going to brain dump the answers to the questions that you have. This is one of the tips I shared at another video. And ideally, you have your ideal client see that before they ever consider buying your thing. The easiest way to get that information is think about what people ask you on sales call over and over and over again. Share that document with folks before the meeting so that they are very, very educated. Use that to inspire posts that you're going to do on social media, like on social media or other platforms, right? Put it into words, educate folks, because that is the secret to everything. You want to be the person that they trust. The more you answer their questions, the more they trust you. And you don't want people to come to you because you're the cheapest option. That tends to not always work out well. You want them to come to you because because you have their best interests in mind. Coming up next, let's see how you can actually stick with it and put out information in a way that is sustainable.
Ooh, okay, here's a question. I want a yes or no in the chat. This isn't a content idea. I didn't say this in the video, but have you told the origin story about how you got into your business and why you started your business? I want to know, yes or no. Have you posted that somewhere? Have you posted on your website, your social media? Yes, Nancy gets points. Griselda gets points. Oh, Lee gets points, or Lee. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Great, but I'm wondering about the rest of you now. Have you wrote up why you got into what you do? Yes, on the website, not on the gram. Well, you can reshare that every once in a while. It does not hurt. Oh, good. Okay, we have a lot of experts in here. Fantastic. Great. Good. I hope more yeses. Oh, you all have shared your story? Women Business Development Center. Great job. Love it. If you want more encouragement, go to your mentor sessions. They're wonderful. Good. Fantastic. It's the last video, and then I'm gonna take some Q&A and discussion, but put some comments in there too. We're gonna discuss it, and if there's something you want to teach your colleagues here, you're gonna be like spending a lot of time together in person. So I want you to learn from each other and build that community. Great. I hope you all learn each other's stories. Love it.
Were you addicted to Game of Thrones? I know I wasn't. Where are the rest of you at that didn't watch the show? Anyway, so some of you were very, very into the show and you'd watch it religiously every time it came out on TV. Now, what if I told you that out of like, let's say the 10 episodes they had one season, they decided we're only going to put out 3 because we were too tired and busy to put out the rest of them. I'm pretty sure there would be like an Armageddon going on of people very, very mad about the show not coming out. But in reality, this exact example is what's happening with so many business owners where they are, excited to put out social media content wherever they're going, and they're putting it out and they're super jazzed about it. And then they quit and then they just go away. And then they come back randomly some other time. It's very inconsistent and it doesn't work. Consistency is a huge factor in social media. Now, consistency doesn't mean that you post 1 million times a day and you stick with it. It's finding a good amount of effort that you can put in and having that effort be repeated over time. For me, my LinkedIn posts, secretly, I've only put them out every other week nowadays. I used to only put them out once a month because that's all the energy I had to do. Boy, what that allowed me to do is it allowed people to see me on a regular basis and remember that I do something special, right? And they get little sprinkles of education every single time. Most people, my guess is probably 95% of people are not consistent on the internet, and they're not going to get the results that they need. So with me, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about how I keep with my people. So I do have an email list. I put out information every other week that gives people very, very light, easy social media tips into their inbox. By the way, you can sign up on my website, yoursocialmediasherpa.com. And that's what I do, because what happens is that, especially in my industry, and your industry might be different, people aren't necessarily ready to buy immediately. Surprise, surprise. And when I get to put out content on my email list, it lets people still think of me on a regular basis. Whether they read the email or not, my name shows up in their inbox. It lets people not only refer me, it lets people see me as the expert. It lets people feel thankful that I get to give them tips that they didn't know were possible. So, there's a chance for them to raise their hand when the time is right. But if they completely forgot about me, then they couldn't actually ever do that. Also, people in person will come up to me and say, "Oh, I love your emails," and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, that's so exciting!" So for me, I can do an email every other week consistently, and I can stick with it, right? So people are prepared every other Friday to see my name pop up with something really insightful, or yeah, that's what they do. So for me, that's what I do, right? The LinkedIn, the email content's doing podcasts because it favors my strengths of talking. Hello, surprise, surprise. And people can discover me on there, right? I also love LinkedIn and video stuff and email because it's less writing and less energy, but it also favors me, right? So in ideal scenario, someone in my target audience can learn everything they didn't need to know about social media and build trust with them before they're even ready to pull the trigger, right? So I'm no longer a stranger to them. I am somebody that can actually help them. So what can you do right now to help you achieve this on the interwebs or beyond? Where are your best people? Is there a platform where they're already on for a lot of B2B? That's probably going to be LinkedIn, but depends on your industry. The other thing is, number 2, is there a place that you can gather people to feed them insights? Email is a great option. The best people most people are not ready to buy from you. The people who are most excited to buy from you are the most likely to get on your email list. So that is why it's so much valuable, that attention that you get on there. And for some people, it doesn't have to be all online. It could be a postcard too. I had one client that was selling commercial real estate, and a postcard with the same kind of content I've been talking about above could also do the trick, right? A lot of my content and a lot of what I teach is sustainable forever, whether I know the platform or not. It's feeding the right people the right information on a regular basis so they can raise their hand and say, yes, take my money and help me solve this problem. But it's tricky. Oh, I actually wrote this down as a note too. Like, I used to love to do events, and I was like, well, what if I do everything as events? And then I realized how exhausting that was, and I could not sustain it. So that was not my medium, but for you, it might be. Who knows? So the last one is, how often can you stick to putting out this information? You do not have to follow all the rules of the gurus, but something that is ideally once every 2 weeks or less is probably okay, but start slow and steady as long as you can stick to it. You don't want to crash diet here. That's happened to one of my clients who was doing this on TikTok, right? She got really excited for 2 weeks and then she quit. Like I told her she might. Believe me, I believe in my clients, but like, I also know when people kind of set their expectations too high. Sometimes I do that for myself too. And for me, I like to try to do one guest podcast appearance every month or so. So that's how I can find the balance in my life, because not every person wants to be a social media manager. And sometimes I don't want to be one either, because that is not my business anymore, right? And if anything, have someone else help you and manage it for you. Some of my best clients, and my favorite way to work with clients is when they already have a social media executor on their team, which could be a virtual assistant, it could be a social media manager, it could be a marketing team. Those are the best people who can execute the quickest and make the most impact out of social media. So with that, it's all about finding consistency and finding a piece of content that you can put out that isn't going to stress you out. So if you're like me and you like video, great. If you're like some of my other clients who are writers, utilize that and you'll be in great shape. So if you want more of that kind of help, find me at yoursocialmediasherpa.com, where I have various offerings to get you to see how well you're engaging your valuable network online. See you in the next one.
Yay! You did it! You watched the videos. I'm still talking. Yes, reactions. Oh, Helen. Yes. Yeah. I love that I keep talking, even though I'm not. Oh, my digital version is still talking. I have to compete with myself. Helen, you said the shop vendors are actually going to be featured on 2 news channels later this month. So thinking about all these things, origin story, FAQs, etc., would be helpful for that as well. Yes. Okay. I went to some media trainings with some nonprofits, and they're like, answer the question that you want. So if there's some really important buzz line that you need to say on the news that's going to get people excited about you, say that. They might ask you one question, what's your favorite color? And you're going to say, my product saves you from all the sweat that you get from your underboobs or whatever. Sorry, I'm just talking about my own fitness problems here. So I love that. So I would love for you all to collaborate. That'd be so huge. So with that, are you consistent on social media? Yes or no? Are you consistent enough? Ish? I want to know in the chat. Nancy says no, right? And sometimes that happens because some guru was like, you need to post 5 Instagram posts a week and you need to have 3 reels a day and blah, blah, blah. And like, they might be right. But if you're starting out and you're a team of 1, 2, or 3, that's going to be exhausting. And some of you don't want to do that as all of your time. Stories, yes. Posts, no. A post might not be as valuable on Instagram these days. It changes all the time. I always tell my clients, don't overthink the algorithm because it's always changing. But if you can have that audience be full of good people, you're in great shape. One woman show it becomes a lot. One woman show it can be a lot. Yes, a lot of my clients are either they have a business and they wear all the hats, or they're at a company and they're wearing all the hats, where it's like you have to do the marketing, community development, you have to send out emails, you have to do everything. It is a lot of work. So I don't want you to think that you have to do it like everyone else. There's a million people selling courses out there, but what it boils down to is finding the good people, good information on an ongoing basis, because those people know people who are just like them and they're going to want to tell them about you. Now, this is not everything and anything on social media, but if you have this foundation, if you do ads, the ads are going to go right into, what do we say, funnel? Heard the word funnel, right? They're going to go right into those emails, or they're going to see your content. It's all a machine. If you do SEO, all of these need to still fit into everything that I told you here. So get the base right, because if they don't know what their next steps are to either buy your thing right away or get to know you over time, you're missing out on an opportunity. Love it, love it. Yes, you don't want to exhaust yourself. So with the last little few minutes that we have left, what are some thoughts that are coming up? Questions, comments? Is there something you want to teach your colleagues here? Because I know I can't cover everything in under an hour, but I want to make sure you can all learn from each other. I know we have some people who love social media, who live and breathe it. How do you make it easy? I want to know. Put it in the chat. And I know more, you've been a lot more consistent lately too, so I'm really proud of you for that. Yes. So with that, yes, any comments, questions, I'd love to know. Facebook allows you to schedule posts, which is great. Oh, that's a great tip, because platforms love it when you post directly from them. Schedulers are great to save time, but if you're able to post, we call it natively to the platform, great. LinkedIn has one too. It makes life a lot easier. That's one thing. I use Notion to do it. Tips to make it easy. Like I said, find something you can manage. You might be optimistic and say, I'm going to post 3 times a week. No, I post once a week now on LinkedIn. I've upped it since that video. That's what I can manage. One of the things I do, it's funny, I don't love writing, but I found this app called Letterly that lets you voice record something and it'll reformat it to a LinkedIn post or a Facebook post or something, or an email or something rather. And as somebody who, like, my parents are immigrants, I was never good at reading, writing, and spelling. I have some disabilities there too. That makes my writing sound like I know what I'm talking about. Some of my writer friends can tell it's AI, but I'm like, great, somebody understands what I'm trying to say and they made it easier. I was like, I'll take it for now. So that's another one. Letterly's a good one. I use something called Notion, which is kind of like Google Docs on steroids, to organize my brain dump. So I have a brain dump with all sorts of ideas, and I'll have anything that my assistant's like, oh, I could write about that. She'll flush it out. I'll look at it, and then she'll tell me to look at it again. And once it's ready to go, I'll put it in my little bucket of things that are ready to post, and they'll try to batch them all in once. Some people are scared that the content is not from today, and it doesn't have to all be from today. The other thing to make it easier is that you're allowed to repost stuff. One of my clients was like, oh, it's kind of like having 20 pieces of content that you can cycle through. And I'm like, yeah, every great author is probably putting the same thing in their book out in little chunks on their social media. The book is just an organized version. And then the consulting and the one-on-one, that's the prime purposeful thing. It's like meeting you online versus walking into your shop. Valeska wrote, I found that creating content in one day, example, 5 pictures on Sunday, and then I can share throughout the week. ChatGPT is also my best friend to create verbiage for my posts. I just like to make it sound like me. Yes, good. I love that you know to make it sound like you. Tanya wrote, for me, it's hard because I think in Spanish, but when I translate my idea, it's gone. Oh no, maybe there's some AI for you. See if you can get some resources from the community. Write in Spanish on ChatGPT and then it translates. This is great when you find a speaker that is, find a buddy that you can do it for each other, because somebody's probably trying to do the reverse and try to get it into Spanish. So find a buddy. That's probably your best bet. And if you can batch it, then you can do it like once a month with your buddy. That's another way to go. The other thing is, if you're nervous about posting something, send it to a friend first. That's also a good nugget to worry about. I love that. It does not have to be bad. You can reuse stuff. Do not be scared to reuse stuff, because people need to hear something more than once. You heard the same message over and over again. Get on email. Get on email. I said it multiple times in the video. Hopefully I have hypnotized you into making your emails better. They do not have to be, here's an article, here's an article, here's an article. Tell me about how your product helped somebody this week. Tell me about an interaction you had with a client at your shop. These are all really easy things, or how they've helped people. How has your thing helped somebody? And people love seeing themselves on social media. People love user-generated content. Sometimes that happens, sometimes it doesn't. But tell your story, because all of what you do offline is going to replicate what happens online. I told this magician client, I was like, your page is your stage. It is your megaphone. Give them something that they cannot wait to see. Make it indulgent for them. Yes. Okay, so one of the biggest things I do with people is I like to ask them, what are you going to do as a result of this thing? What are you going to do as a result of this thing that we did today? There's a lot on marketing, but it's a lot of it is the foundation, the base, to make it really, really strong. And I want to know what you're going to do. So in the chat, I'm putting a link to a form where you can get accountability from Robot Shyly that I've set up ahead of time. You can put in a few things that you're going to do as a result of this session. And then I'm going to check in with you over the coming weeks to be like, did you do the thing? Because I am all about harping for accountability. And you can also get some good social media tips that are very, very easy in your inbox. So for some of you, it might be, I want to write my FAQs. For some of you is, oh, I got this great idea to write about XYZ. For some people, it's create a brain dump to manage your stuff. For some people, it's like, well, what are the 5 next emails that I'm going to send? And can I write an outline for it? What are some things that you're going to do? Put it in that form. You'll get some insights from me, and you can hang out on my emails as long as you'd like. No judgment. But you will get reminders over the coming weeks by surprise. No pressure. That's how I like to work with people, because I do not want to let my people fail. And then I have a few closing questions. And is there a closing message from you all that I need to be mindful of for time?
I don't have a closing message, but I was wondering if I could take a group picture, maybe?
Oh yeah, group
If,
picture. So we'll make sure
if-
we'll do a group picture at the end, yeah?
Okay.
Okay, good. So everyone's gonna look all it's cute. You all look beautiful. So if you're off camera because you think you don't look cute, I promise you all look beautiful. Okay, we're gonna self-esteem workshop here too now. As you're filling that out for your own accountability, what's a good way to collect emails while they're shopping in our store? If anybody has insights on this, I'd love to know. They don't always work with stores. But you can tell people, hey, I'll give you a discount, and maybe it's a discount you give everybody. They don't need to know. I'll give you 5% off if you follow me on Instagram. It could be, again, free samples is a good one. I am not an Uber user because I don't like Uber, but they had these really cute t-shirts, and they're like, well, if you just download the app, we'll give it to you. And I was like, oh, look, here's the app. And they gave me the t-shirt, and I was like, cool. So if there's something that it doesn't cost you much to give away, cool. Oh, we have paper lists for them to write their names, phone numbers, and emails. That's a way. Yeah, you could do it by paper but as long as you have the capacity to type it up. I know I hate that, and some people are better than others. The other one I'll say, actually, this is a much more expensive option, but it's very good for a storefront. There's this thing, I think it's called Smiggle or something like that. It's if you've ever been to 1871, they have this. It's a bunch of numbers, and it shows like a little, like, for example, Instagram icon. And every time you get a new follower, the physical device, like an old clock, will show that one new person followed. It's the most satisfying item I've ever seen in my life. So here we go. Nancy says, so are you recommending we put a sign in our shop with our email, phone number, and media communications? That's one way you could do it, but I would incentivize people to follow for something. Let me see if I can find it. It's like weirdly priced, but maybe it's cheaper now. I think it's called Smiggle Social Media Counter. I haven't talked about this in a while, but it is kind of cool. Smiral. Here, I'll show you the website. It's so cool. It's a little bit of an investment, but it definitely works. I'll show you this website. This is the item. it is this. So it looks just like this, and every time someone follows, it like changes. It's so satisfying. But yeah, you can get one of these. I don't know how expensive they are. They don't look expensive, but they're like they were weirdly expensive. Oh, they got cheaper. Oh yeah, it used to be something like this. A little bit cheaper now. So if this is super important to you, this is one way to go about it. There you go. Let's stop share. But that's one way to go. I would say, look, hey, like follow me and you'll get this. One of the ones, like my boba shop near my house, I love this woman-owned business. I should tell her about Women Business Development Center. She's also not a native English speaker. She always posts what flavors she has in specials. And so I'm like salivating and I was like, wait, you have taro ice cream today or whatever? Let me get it. So it's a great place for updates and special offers. So you can tease a lot of different things. So I don't have a storefront, so I don't want to pretend I know everything, but I know you all are going to help each other. Maybe you all should just like walk around and say, oh yeah, you need to set this up, or you need to do this, or you need to do some. You guys will help each other. This is a squad now. You guys have more sessions together. Hopefully you've all filled out that form that I put in the chat, so you get more insights and accountability from me automatically. And then I'm going to ask you one more question. I asked you at the beginning, how do you feel about social media? Now, some of you are already rocking it, and that's great, but I want to see who's improved and who's evolved. So in the chat, I asked you earlier, how do you feel about social media? Maybe you hate it a little less. That would be great. 1 through 10, how are you feeling? Show your number. I want to see how you've all grown in this session. And then I'm going to close it out before a beautiful photo shoot. Why are people leaving for the photo shoot? They need to be here. Okay, we got Nancy's got a 6, Lee's got a 5. I just want to see good. I love it. If we see the numbers go up, I am thrilled. 8, yes. I want you all to have a very good foundation. 6, very cool. I'm going to save the checks. I want to see all of this. I did this with another talk I gave the other day, and it was cool to see a lot of people go up. So I'm thrilled about that. The other one is I'm going to have one more question. I don't know if I can get everybody on voice. I always love to know, and we have a lot from everybody here, including our Women Business Development Center team. What is one word to describe how you're feeling today after this session? I want to know, what is your one word? And I see Valeska, you unmuted. Do you have a word?
Not yet, but I'm gonna think of one.
Think of one. Okay, great. Mara says inspired. Oh, I love you, Mara. Felicitas, I don't know if I'm saying that right. Energized? Like it, I'll take it. Who else has got it? Yasmin, are you unmuted? What's your word? And Patrice, I see you there too. Helen says excited. I love it. Great.
I'm gonna say confirmation.
Confirmation. Ooh.
Yeah, a lot of stuff I've been doing already. So just hearing, someone with your skill set confirm some of the things. So I'm ready to really kick butt and take it to the next level.
Love it. Very cool. Helen says excited. Melissa says challenge in a good way. I will challenge the junk out of you. And you all can follow me too. I post a lot on LinkedIn all the time. I know that's how Maura and I have stayed in touch, because I don't have to see her in person, but I know what she's up to. Erica said productive. I love this. With that, I also say gratitude, right? You could have chosen to be anywhere else. You could have done other programs. You could have even said no to this program. You could have decided not to open up your business. There's so many reasons you could have chosen not to be here, but you chose to be here. So I am grateful. That is my word. And before we do our lovely photo shoot, I'm going to leave you on my favorite social media quote that I burn into every client's brain, is that social media is about the business. I'm sorry, social media is about the people, not about your business. Provide for the people, and the people will provide for you. This has been your social media Sherpa. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And is any of our vendors able to turn your video on so we could take a quick photo? I know you're probably
too.
some of you are working and in different places doing different things, but
They're coming. I love it. See, they're all beautiful. I knew it.
I'm not tech savvy, so I was like, how do you even share a video?
This is why we're here.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, we're gonna. I think Yasmin's working. But we're gonna do it in 3, 2, 1. Yay, got it. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Shiley and WBDC and all of the vendors. I'll see you guys tomorrow at the shops.
Okay.
Thanks, Helen.
Hey.
Thank you, Shiley.
Thank you, Shani.
Welcome, Maura. Always.
Thanks. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.